Hey y'all. Two quick lectures. You get two for one today, and it won't be very long. I want to talk about, uh, that CBT is the golden child in therapy. Well, REBT is right up there too. Rational emotive behavior therapy. In our case, we're applying this to marriage and family. So I want to run over this pretty quickly because I'd rather you read the details, as in all these lectures. I'd prefer that you read the details. So we're going to be talking briefly about Albert Ellis, Dr. Albert Ellis, who was the creator of really the first cognitive psychotherapy, REBT, rational emotive behavior therapy. And this was done 19, it's not really important, 40s, 50s, somewhere in there. So that's the time frame we're talking about. So Ellis is obviously a therapist. He's all these things. He's a New Yorker. And then again, he's involved in psychiatry, psychology mostly, working with psychiatrists, etc. Blah blah blah. All those details that really aren't that important. What is important is that he wanted to explore the reasons why people continue in dysfunctional behavioral patterns. His contention was that a person's emotional and behavioral reactions are determined on how they interpret events, not the event itself. Uh, and this is really, really cool stuff because this is all about your perception. I could probably change my name to Perception Dasher, or my PhD stands for Perception and something else. I don't know. Perception is personal opinion. Bear with me. Perception is probably the most powerful thing, if not the most powerful, one of the most powerful things when you study psychology, because it's how you interpret things. And that perception is formed by nurture. You're taught these perceptions. Yes, your own personal emotions play a role, and we could go on and on and on and on about that. But the bottom line is it's not necessarily the event itself, and Ellis noticed this. It's how you interpret it. So, what in the world is this? Um, there are aspects that are incorporated into REBT. Carl Rogers, for example, when he talks about unconditional positive regard, fancy way of saying everybody's good. Uh, Problems in self worth, everybody's pretty good. Uh, you're at birth, you're pretty good. Unconditional acceptance, so on and so forth. A lot of these things that are components of this, and you can narrow those jokers down. And you narrow it down to this: self actualization, minimizing distress, and then maximize happiness. And there's one you can't control is lengthen life. You can't control how long you're going to live. But the idea is if you're happy and easygoing, that your life probably will last longer because you're not under stresses. Who in the world's not under stress? Well, you better hope there's stress in your life, because it's proven physiologically that if you don't have some stress, bye, you're dead. Now, REBT has what's called the ABCDE model. And I'll give you these, although you'll be able to read about them. A, activating event. Okay, that's what you're dealing with. B, beliefs. And that's how the therapist views you. That's done through interview and various methods. C is consequences, behavioral and emotional. Uh, I am viewing you and you're viewing me. So and you're also relating to me your view of whatever the event is that set all this distress off. D is disputing, disturbance, producing beliefs. Uh, I'll let you read that because that gets really, really super in depth. And then E, effective and new rational outlook, accompanied by emotional and behavioral change. Okay, go back to D. Uh, what you are doing in D, I'm going to I'm going to brush over the surface because this is one of the main keys to making this work. Keeping a journal. Something happens, you write down your immediate response to whatever that happening was. You even list things like the day, the time, the circumstances, the location. The more detailed you get, the better. And then you come up with a way that you could have handled it better, including what your thoughts could have been as opposed to what they were. And what we're working toward here is wanting you to produce positive thoughts because you're dealing a lot of times with people who are depressed. So that's the basis of this stuff. Now, how do we make it work in family therapy? By the way, just in case you haven't noticed or read enough, uh, there's an aspect of family therapy called couples therapy, and it is what it says. It's just the two of you, not children. So we're working with husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the situation is. Uh, Rational emotive behavior in terms of family therapy uses the same principles and same practices as the individual REBT does. Because what it's trying to do is expose the fundamental underlying things that are causing disillusionment with not only themselves, but with family arrangements. And so, in order to get to that point, you need cognitive, emotive, and behavioral methods uh, employed to teach the people communication, uh, teach them intimacy, uh, teach them how to function in a relationship, and any other skill that you think needs to be brought into the picture and improved upon. Let me talk about intimacy a minute. Excuse me, I just had Mexican food for lunch, and it was good, by the way. Intimacy. Right away, many people go, "Oh, that's that. Oh, boy, that's sexually oriented." No, no, no. Intimacy means close relationship. Eric Erickson talks about the ability to be intimate, and others do too. I think Karen Horney even mentions it, but I'm not sure. I have to look back at my notes. Intimacy, though, if I don't establish good self esteem, it is Erickson. If I don't establish good self esteem, a good identity, then it's going to hamper my ability to be intimate. Why is that? Now, this is an attachment thing. I don't trust anybody. So I can't have good friends. I can't have close friends. I can have relationships that are acquaintances, but I protect myself. So I can't be intimate. And those are one of the major things you have to work on is getting rid of those little walls that we tend to put up that protect us. Um, I don't know if I want to go this deeply. No, I think I'll let you read about it. What I was getting ready to talk to you about was the three core IBs that REBT identifies. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna let you do that because I'm sitting here thinking about it and looking over it, and it's just going to get too involved. So I want to stop there with REBT, and I want to move to one you probably never have heard of. There's potential that you've heard of these others that we've talked about, maybe, probably not so much Bowen and maybe not so much contextual, but cognitive behavioral family therapy, rational emotive behavior therapy. Now you've heard of that. And now I want to introduce you to one that's called symbolic experiential theory. Sorry, therapy. Symbolic experiential family therapy. And I like this because this is right up the counseling alley. This is my universe right here. And here's why. It focuses on right now. Focuses on the here and now. Uh, the here and now experiences. And then humor, intuition, craziness, spontaneity, personal growth, and even playfulness. Now, I will kind of give you an idea of what all those mean because they sound weird, don't they? Craziness? Are you serious? Playfulness? What in the world's that all about? Um, it's different from other therapies because it creates this symbolic experiential family stuff creates different experiences for you to live with, uh, and in the meantime, ignoring the past. So we want you in the here and now. It's an atheoretical method for teaching, for counseling families and treating families. We want you to grow in the present, if that makes sense. Ormsby, a guy named Whitaker, Carl Whitaker, was the originator of this deal. And that, again, as long as you got some idea who was involved in it, that's all I care about. Well, let's look and see, just look at a few of the nuts and bolts, and then we'll be done for the day. We're already almost at 12 minutes. Good grief. This therapy, this symbolic business, it uses personal growth and symbolism. That's where this symbolic stuff comes from. Symbolic experiences to help understand who and what you are as the client. Craziness and pathology is healthy. And again, I'm going to talk to you about craziness, or if I see that I'm running too long, I'll get you to read about that. I ask you to read about it. What this basically is doing is allowing me to create an atmosphere as the counselor where pathology is less threatening. Family members basically are given the freedom to be themselves, regardless if that's really a word. I don't think it is. Regardless of the particular diagnosis involved in this. Excuse me again. Sorry. Should wait way after lunch before I do these. There are 4 stages that are important in this. One is kind of obvious. You make a phone call. Hey, I'm interested in therapy. And so it's really not important at the moment. It is the starting point, but it's not what we're going to talk about. And this gets a little complicated, so stick here with me. I'm going to give you 4 stages, but what I want you to understand is I'm presenting them in a sequence, but the sequence doesn't always work this way. Sometimes you will go forward, sometimes you go backwards during the treatment, during this course of the treatment. So let's jump into these real quick and let me give you an idea. Stage 1, battle for structure. That's with the first phone call. I'm actively talking to you about what it is that you need help with. And I'm going to be an investigator in this case. I'm going to learn about your family's problems. And then I want to remove you from the past during this time and bring you into the here and now, because that's what you and I are going to be dealing with. And this will make sense about this movement within these stages in a moment, because the second stage is called battle for initiative. So what I want to do is I want to shift the responsibility from me helping you to your family. I want the members of your family to begin to take charge of your own experiences. What does that mean? It means that you take ownership of these things. It means that your experiences for the most part, in many cases, are controllable. So I want you to be in charge of what you're doing. And I may introduce humor to help with it, to alleviate any stress. We may do some role playing, etc. Um, Anything that we can come up with that would cause you to relax, to cause you to concentrate more on the healing process as opposed to the problem. Third thing is the trial of labor. I want you, as a family, to discuss the pain that you're suffering through. And of course, we're talking about emotional. And I want you to look at the meaning of it. What's the meaning of the pain? What does it represent for each member of the family? It takes a lot of stuff, a lot of time, and now you should be able to see where you may go from stage 3 all the way back to stage 1, or you may go from 2 to 3, or you may go from 2 to 1. Uh, that's just the way this therapy works. And then stage 4 is the obvious. It's termination. I began to walk myself back from interaction with you, and I become more of a casual observer. And I may even tell you about my own experiences in my family to help you understand that things are not isolated with you and you only. You have to be careful as a counselor or a therapist, and we're kind of interchangeable, in that you don't want to become the patient, or let's say client, because that's what's popular today. So there you have those two. I know that's a brief overview, and it went on a little longer than I wanted it to, but uh, read about the details, and I'll be with you again soon.